Hi, my name is Zadie Five Ash with the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and today we're sitting down with Hall of Famer Jackie Stiles to talk about the original Portland Fire and what it means to see the WNBA return to the city. In 2001, the Portland Fire selected Jackie Stiles with the fourth overall pick in the WNBA draft after an outstanding career at Missouri State, where she scored 3,393 points and was the NCAA's all-time leading scorer. With the Portland Fire, she went on to average nearly 15 points per game, started all 32 games, and shot 43% from three, earning the WNBA Rookie of the Year honors. She was selected as an inductee to the Hall of Fame in 2016 for her outstanding career. Jackie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm blushing after that interview, after that introduction. So thank you for all your kind words. It almost feels like a separate person. That was so long ago. I'm getting really old. I have to show a video before I speak because I'm so old and most of these kids weren't born when I played. But thank you for that kind introduction.
Yeah, no, I mean, grateful to be able to honor your career and what you did at Missouri State and with Portland. So to start off, can you take me back to the 2001 WNBA draft? What do you remember about hearing your name called fourth overall?
Well, I was just so excited to be in the draft room, and it's just an exciting moment because to think about potentially getting paid to play basketball. So I told my second grade teacher I was going to play professional basketball when I grew up, but the WNBA didn't exist. Really the highest honor you could achieve as a female basketball player in the US was you could be an Olympian. And so the fact that now, we have the opportunity to play in the WNBA, to play professional basketball and to be, considered at that point. It was just so exciting. And then it's just, you're kind of on pins and needles. You're just hoping that your name is going to be called and you're just like, where am I going to be living for the next however many years? And I was truly just so excited when Portland drafted me as the fourth pick because I did know Coach Linda Hargrove a little bit. She coached at Wichita State. I was at Missouri State. So she coached against me in college and I knew of her pretty well. And so it was just a really exciting moment to hear my name called and know that I was going to play in the WNBA.
Yeah, that's amazing. What was it like moving out to the West Coast and to Portland coming from Missouri?
Well, at first it was a little intimidating. Springfield, you cannot consider like a big city. And then I grew up in Claflin, Kansas, and that's a town of 600. We didn't even have a stoplight. So the traffic and getting around at first was, a little bit difficult for me, but I grew to love the city so much. I mean, the people made me feel like one of their own, like I'd grown up there my whole life. They accepted me with open arms and just just had tremendous hospitality. And I grew to love Portland and that community so much. Now it's unfair because I thought I'd be there a lot longer before they folded. And, all of my friends and family that visited, they got to see the neat sights of Portland and really kind of, tour Oregon. But I really was so busy. I didn't really get to leave Portland much just because my schedule was so intense, in those 2 years.
Yeah, no, I could imagine that the schedule's very intense playing. So, what made the Portland team that you were on special?
Well, first of all, it was just the fans. They really support us. And, I know that we folded, but it was nothing to do with our attendance or anything like that. We were well attended. I think one of the top attended WNBA teams at the time. And, of course, Nike's headquarters were there. So everybody even loved to come play us. And just the community loved their women's sports. I mean, not just basketball, but the way they support us was amazing. So it's definitely the fans that really truly made it special. And then of course I have a lot of great memories with my teammates. They were all very welcoming. Me coming in as a rookie and getting this attention just because we made a Final Four run at Missouri State. It was looked at as an impossible dream what we did. Being a mid-major university, and now in 25 years there hasn't been a mid-major team since on the women's side make a Final Four. So it was extremely tough what we did, and I'm coming in. I haven't earned or shown that I could prove at that or play at that level. And but still, my teammates were very gracious and accepting, and helped me do things that I wouldn't be able to do on my own. That's for sure.
Yeah. Talking more about your transition into the league. So, as I mentioned, as a rookie, you ended up starting every single game. So, what was your moment that you realized that you belonged in the WNBA?
Well, the biggest moment that first stands out for me was when I first got to put the uniform on, and we were just playing an exhibition game. So, it didn't really count, but I'll never forget. And I guess this is my competitiveness because I cannot believe I said this. So it's our first game, and I'm here you're playing against your childhood heroes, because a lot of them are quite a bit older, and there've been players that I looked up to that were Olympians or have been in the WNBA, and so we're playing Katie Smith. I remember. I was like, oh my gosh, Katie Smith is guarding me right now. And so it ended up being a tie game. We had the basketball and on our end, and I just told my coach, I was like, Coach, I want the ball. I was like, I cannot believe looking back that I said that. And so she drew up a play. And here, Portland trusted me as their first pick overall that they had. And I did not want to let them down. I wanted to make them proud. And fortunately, I was somehow able to make that shot. And, the place went crazy. Even though it was an exhibition game, it was just one of my fondest memories because it was my very first time to put on, official WNBA uniform and play. But really, I finally I struggle initially. I just think that, there's a physicality to the game that's a new level from college. And then the size. I mean, there was a girl that was 7'2". I'll never forget. I looked at her and I was like, oh my gosh, I come to her waist, And so at first I was just maybe a little bit intimidated by the physicality and the size, but I just kind of had a breakout game. And then that kind of just propelled me. And that's when I had that true belief that, what, I can play at this level. And that kind of carried me through this season.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. Didn't even know it, but you were guarding a future Hall of Famer as a future Hall of Famer with Katie Smith. So that's
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, she was tremendous. I always looked up to her and followed her. And, she played in I think it was a Big Eight at the time. The conferences have always changed. And, I grew up and, we would go watch her when she played at K-State or KU. And so it was just amazing to get to be guarded by somebody of her, caliber, and play on the same floor. So.
An amazing player. So how would you describe the WNBA fan base in that early years?
Well, they were very supportive of us in Portland. I mean, we really got we were well attended, and we'd have like people like Phil Knight, courtside. I mean, we had great attendance. I remember a lot of the Blazers would come to our games, so they really supported us in Portland. And I know it wasn't like that everywhere, but they just had such a tremendous following for women's sports. I can even remember they had a huge tournament. I think it was called the End of the Trail, and then all the college coaches would come. It was one of the biggest high school tournaments. So they've just always had. I've been very supportive of women's sports. Kind of been ahead of their time, so to speak, because that was like 20 years ago, and how they supported it is now. It's cool to be a women's basketball fan, but back then it wasn't, and they were making it look cool 20 years ago.
Yeah. What do you think makes Portland such a strong women's sports city even today?
I think it's well, one, the financial backing. I mean, it's incredible that they're building a performance, institute for the athletes to hopefully be able to take care of their bodies, to not end up like me. I've had 19 surgeries, from my professional basketball career, but just the state of the art, like just science and facilities to support their women's basketball. I mean, that definitely helps, and their soccer team also, they're going to share that facility. So I mean, I just think that's such forward thinking to keep those athletes healthy, and then to be able to have a a high quality of life when they're done playing their sport. And I think mainly, one, it's the financial backing, but then two, it's just for years they've made it look cool to support women's athletics. And I think success breeds success. So if they're successful, it's just going to grow. And I hope that they are the team to beat in the WNBA, and I believe that they can do it.
Yeah. I mean, investment goes such a long way in women's sports. So, as you mentioned, when the Fire folded after 3 seasons, what was that experience like as a young player on that team?
It was devastating because here, I remember it was around Christmas time, and I had just went home, like but I had never dreamed that I would never return to Portland. Like, I did not go back until, well, they just had me a month ago do some promotional things for them. And I literally had not been back in, you know, 20 years, however many years. And so, I mean, it was just crushing to find out that, oh my gosh, now I'm no longer going to be, on the Fire. And now will I even have an opportunity? And it was just a really scary time. And plus, I was injured. I was going through my injuries after my second season. I kind of played my whole second season injured. And so it was just a really scary time, not knowing what was going to happen next.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you heard that the WNBA was returning to Portland in 2026, what was your reaction to that?
I was so excited and so happy for the community of Portland because nobody deserves it more than they do. I mean, just the way they support it and have for years. And then just to have that team just rip from them, it was so unfair, but it was just the fact that, the owner at the time didn't want the WNBA team. It wasn't anything to do with how they showed up for us. And so I was just sad for them. And so now it's so exciting that they have an opportunity, to help make their team great by the way they do support it and in the way they invest in their female athletes. So I'm truly excited, and I'm so happy that they kept it the Fire, because if they would have changed the name, it was like what we did in the beginning years wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't even have existed. But now to kind of relive those moments. And they're pulling out all these different archives of when we played, and it's just been really fun to see. And I just hope that these new athletes will just know how great this opportunity is and not take it for granted, and do something that we were never able to do. I hope they make a playoffs, and I hope they win a championship, and I'll be their number one fan for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was great to hear. Like, I know I, for one, was so excited to see that the team was coming back to be able to reclaim that identity that was taken back in 2002. So, like you mentioned, you did do some promotional stuff for Portland and you got to help show off the new jerseys. What was that feeling like to be able to put back on a Portland Fire jersey after over 20 years?
Well, I never ever imagined that they would happen, because you never think that your team is going to exist again. It was kind of sad because my college, Southwest Missouri State, it was SMS when I played, and they had a name change. So it's Missouri State. So it's like my college jersey was obsolete. There's no more SMS jerseys. And then it's like, oh my gosh, there's no Portland Fire. And so I just never imagined being able to put on a Portland Fire jersey and have it be current and not an antique, basically. And so it was really exciting to be able to, go out there and, live through that moment of the rebrand, and the name being the same, and seeing the incredible support just at the few events that I went to. They were packed, and just a lot of excitement in Portland, and they deserve it, because they will make that team great. I'll tell you, they will give them everything they need to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing to hear. So, kind of switching gears a little bit to talk about the legacy you've left behind with your career, talking about being a Hall of Famer. So, what was it like when you received the call that you were being inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2016?
I mean, honestly, I literally was speechless, and it's hard to make me speechless. I usually can talk to a wall, but I never ever imagined when I fell in love with the game just as a young girl. My dad being a coach, that I would one day, be inducted to the Hall of Fame. I never imagined it, and to accomplish something like that is a credit to having so many incredible people surrounding me throughout my career that supported me, that sacrificed so I could live out my basketball dreams. And so I share it with so many people, from my incredible teammates to, my parents, my mom working 2 and 3 jobs so I could have different opportunities throughout the country, my dad being a basketball coach, and, just, all the incredible coaches that influenced me. And so I was so fortunate to have incredible people surrounding me that made me so much better than I ever could have been on my own. And, just to have that moment of being inducted and to share it with all those people that sacrificed so much meant the world to me.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear about all the people who supported you in your journey. I know now that you now own J Stiles Total Training, where you work as a basketball instructor, trainer, and speaker. So, what drives you to invest back into young athletes?
Well, I realized the first half of my career, I was very selfishly focused. Like, I got up every day and all I thought about was how could I be the best basketball player I could possibly become. And I didn't tell a lot of people this, but my internal goal was I wanted to be the best basketball player to ever play the game on the women's side. And I know that sounds crazy that was my dream, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to take days off. And I mean, I was just so singularly focused, all my eggs in one basket. And then I realized, not that that's a bad thing, but then the second half of my career, It's more about significance over success. How could I align my gifts to help the most amount of people? So I always say, even on this interview, if I could help anybody, please contact me at JackieStiles.com, because I know I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for all the support. And so now I want to give that back and try to help others be the best versions of themselves or their self. So yeah, I'm in a very fortunate spot. People always say, like, aren't you sad that you aren't playing now? You'd be a millionaire. And I'm like, well, honestly, no, because I don't think I've pushed myself to. I own a personal training gym called Next Gen Fitness, and I get to see lives transform through the love of fitness. And basically, I'm still kind of a professional athlete. I'm working out off and on all day long, with through my love of fitness, helping change lives. And then I have the basketball piece as well, where I travel around and do camps and clinics. And I just don't think I would have pushed myself if I, was a millionaire. And I realized money isn't what makes me happy. It's fulfillment. And to get up every day being so excited to get out of bed and just cross different people's paths and try to help them be better than they were a minute ago. It's just so exciting for me.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear that for you, your legacy goes beyond the statistics you had as a player to the people you're investing in now. So, with the mindset and the wisdom that you have now, if you could tell young Jackie entering the WNBA one thing, what would you tell her?
I would have said, what, don't put so much pressure on yourself and just have fun. Just remember why you start playing and just enjoy. And the other thing, I know this is too, but would be that it's okay to say no. I had so many demands on my time and I couldn't take care of myself and couldn't do what I needed to do so I could stay healthy and stay on the court. And, I saw Caitlin, just with her time, and I was like, how is she managing this? And I just was hoping that one, she knew it was okay to say no at times when she needed to take care of herself. And I hope she has good people around her protecting her. And it was scary for me because kind of aligning, she was rookie of the year, I was rookie of the year, I was the all-time leading scorer. Obviously, she's the all-time leading scorer. And then her second year, she's injured. And I'm so happy that she shut it down where I tried to play through it and was getting all kinds of cortisone injections and different things. And I never played again. And so I'm just so happy that she took the year off to get healthy. And because selfishly, we want to see her play for the next 10, 15 years because she's such an incredible talent. So, I would say those two things are: one, just have fun, enjoy every second of it. It's a short career, even if you play 10 years. I mean, that's a short career. And, it's okay to say no when you need to.
Yeah, I think that's amazing advice, even for people who aren't in basketball. I know sometimes I need to learn to say no to things too, and that's really great advice. So, to kind of wrap up, when Portland tips off again in 2026, what do you hope that the fans remember about the original Fire and your era of the league?
I just hope that they know that we absolutely loved taking the floor, representing them, and we wore that jersey with pride. And I hope that they remember that, maybe we weren't always the most talented team on the court, but we played with so much heart and passion. And I hope that we inspired others in whatever they do to be better and do more, by the way we played the game. And so I just hope that they know how much we loved it and how much we appreciated the support they gave us. And now we're all excited to rally around this new Portland Fire team.
Yeah, I think we're all excited to see the new Portland Fire team join the WNBA in 2026. I know I'll definitely be cheering them on. And thank you so much for your time today.